Hey everyone, it is Jenny here to report on Chapter 11, initial post. Very interesting read, though I think the theme of what the author is trying to portray continues to be like similar as far as those that were anti-mandate. And it's like no matter who the person was, they it tended to be, I don't want to say Democrat, Republican, whatever, but that's kind of what the book says. So, it basically is just everything's political in nature. And so the first part of the chapter talked about Tucker Carlson opposing Slavitt's statement of the magnitude of the virus, basically saying, oh, it's not that bad, mild symptoms, and the death toll was only a fraction of what it was reported to be. Meanwhile, 92,000 Americans at that point had died as the rates took a temporary dip. And the thing that I found kind of eye-catching was that it talked about how even just 45 days later that the numbers had at least doubled. So we went right back into, high numbers. And then a couple of months later, Carlson had stated that the New York governor and Fauci unnecessarily tried to scare the public. And then at that time, the death toll was 23,100 people. So to me, like, none of that makes sense, because how could you even justify making those statements when the death numbers are that high? We know there's a virus, and now there's super high numbers, so there has to be a correlation. And then Carlson also gave praise to South Dakota's governor for having a backbone to keep the state open. And we all know that South Dakota was one of those hot spots where I think it was more than 60% of the COVID tests were coming back positive. And then there was the story about Gilman, who lost his father to an overdose, joined the military, suffered from PTSD, and basically was this frontline worker that basically had like resurfacing of PTSD type symptoms by watching people die. But yet, through his bravery and his acknowledgement that he was needed, he accepted a job in Arizona, and he knew what that meant, and he knew what he was up against. And so I feel like, that is a very brave and credible action on that person's part. And then Bill Joy had indicated that there were very simple, low-tech ways to keep ourselves safe. We know how it is spread, so what could it hurt to just take those simple steps to try to begin to tackle, the virus. Take control over the science and statistics. I just had stated that, through this time of kind of anti or for the different mandates, there was an increase in violence occurring, especially with a difference in opinions. And, it didn't really help that Trump was kind of, he was, he's supposed to be the leader of our country. And as we read later in the chapter, he's mocking it, throwing masks into a crowd at a rally, stating he would kiss everyone, winking at people, saying, oh, wear it if you want to. That right there does not really entice people to want to follow it, because who wakes up one day and says, I want to wear a mask? Nobody. But if you were to have a leader or people that were advocating for why it was important and this isn't forever, maybe it would have gone a lot differently. And it had said that a study that was conducted found that 38% of the misinformation about the virus was generated based on the things that Trump had done, and that the Mayo Clinic had estimated that about 70% of Americans would either need to be infected with COVID or vaccinated in order to achieve that herd immunity. And I like how the author just continues to have that mindset of saving the next life. You know, we cannot get back the lives that were lost. And I was absolutely devastated to read that it was estimated at the time that the book was written that we had lost, oh my gosh, I can't remember. It's at the end of my... There we go. An estimated 2.5 million years of life. So, you know, that's a lot of life that was still meant to be potentially lived, you know. It's just mind-blowing to me. And then there was Dr. Scott Jensen, who was stating that the flu was much worse than COVID. And I was talking to my coworker about this today, like that he was basically saying that there was higher reimbursement levels for COVID diagnoses. So physicians were misdiagnosing people to get a higher payment rate. And I hope to God that is not true because, number one, it would be fraudulent. And number two, why would physicians take this pandemic as the opportunity to falsify a diagnosis? That just, if that's the kind of world we're living in, we really have problems. Furthermore, to add to that, you know, Young had described what we're going through as a catastrophic lack of empathy. And that just really, 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 truly saddens me because this is a moment where we should be bonding together. Again, I've mentioned many times in many of my videos, we all want the common end goal to get back to a normal life. And the more that we are selfish and only thinking of ourselves and not other people that we need to protect, it's embarrassing to be in that position and to see the other countries basically follow what their country their leaders want to do, or basically have no choice, or maybe they have respect. It just makes us look really bad. Let's see. Oh, another thing that stuck out to me was that quickly talking about how when Trump got COVID, basically everything that happened there. So, it was masked how bad it was. He was getting a cocktail of drugs to help him. So what us public Americans, the general public, we do not have those type of treatments available to us. If they're, even if they were deemed to be safe, not safe, whatever, but like he has a whole different availability of healthcare to him that we do not have. So, just the fact that he downplays even the fact that he got the virus is terrible. So who knows actually how bad he got, because I feel like a lot of that would be masked. And then it said, meanwhile, while the British Prime Minister contracted the virus, he communicated it is an unexpected and invisible mugger. And he was insistent upon a national virus control policy. So, it just shows that somebody from another area of the world is being open and honest about kind of the devastation that could be associated with contracting the virus. And then I guess I'll just end, since I'm over as always, by recognizing kind of how the chapter ended, which was, besides faulty leadership, what else was different about our country? And my general thoughts are just we feel entitled. You know, land of the free, home of the brave. We don't like people to tell us what to do. And that, coupled with what we call faulty leadership or people downplaying the magnitude of this virus, has only caused people to die sooner than they were intended to in this life. Those are my thoughts. I will look forward to watching everyone else's post about this very eye-opening chapter. Thank you.